Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We need to open the meeting this morning with approval of the agenda. We have two additions that I'm aware of right now. Under C, public comments, Dixie Dickerson, and D, Greg Jarbo. Is there any other additions, modification, changes? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll approve it.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
It's ongoing. Stella Vogus.
Good morning.
And please, you're up and state your name.
Hi, I'm Stella Vogus.
Okay.
I'm here with my husband Matt that's sitting. I have some handouts. Could I give them to you?
Great.
Yes, ma'am. So, here you go. Handouts with my speech. And I have to read what I've got to say so I don't forget all my important parts. Would you like these for minutes? Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So my husband Matt and I are here today for our road to be considered for a water line with the American Rescue Plan funds. I realize it's in early stages, but we do want and need this along with several of our neighbors. We have been speaking with Jackie at Antro off and on since 2021. She has received our surveys along with our names and addresses of the people along our road that would like to have Patoka Water serve our area. She has informed my husband and I that the ARP funds, a portion of it will be going to Patoka Valley Water. So we didn't know that at first. She did tell us that. So the top handout that you have is a GIS map of our neighborhood. And as you can see at the top of the map where the X is notated, that is where Patoka Water currently was run to and stopped. Our road is Adeyville Road. So you can see where the check marks are placed on there. Those are all of our neighbors willing to sign on to Patoka Water. So from the point where it stops to where our last neighbor that wants to hook on is only 1.5 miles. We're very close. So, and also right amongst everyone, our residents that would like to sign on is the state forest. I did talk to Jackie about that for the need of fire hydrants. She was not sure if it's state or federal owned property that actually charges the water company a monthly fee. I don't know. She was going to look into it, but she thought that would be a good idea too, if the state forestry would need hydrants.
That's Anderson Woods, correct?
The state forest and then Anderson Woods is the special needs camp.
Okay.
So for years, there's been discussion over improvement of infrastructure in the northern part of the county, which is where we live. So the ARP is our opportunity. We almost feel like it's our last opportunity. Jackie's worked hard to get those funds. So Patoka Water was installed on Highway 62 over 40 years ago. And it's serving neighboring residences and just stopped short of us. So this is our plea. So we know from our neighbors' experiences, our neighbor in our backyard, Dr. Isaac Gatwood and his family, drilled for a well and hit sulfur water. We weren't happy to hear that. We ourselves have cistern. And some of our other neighbors have a rain catch system, but we all know it's dry right now. They're having to haul in water too. So these are our homes. People say, well, move if you don't like it where you're at. These are our homes. We hope our children live there, our grandchildren inherit our land. Matt's family alone has lived on Adeyville Road for over 150 years. So essentially, we're trying to help the future of our family and friends with this request. I'd like to mention that Anderson Woods Camp is also requesting Patoka Water and is our neighbor. It's one of only about 12 special needs camps in the entire state of Indiana, and it's special in a lot of ways. We know these people personally that run this camp, and they do well. So during camp season, there's a medical doctor and other medical professionals on site with the campers. Their water consumption during camping season, which is all of June, all of July. However, care for the property goes on year round. There's farm, there's grass that needs mowed, hay that needs mowed, buildings that need maintenance. There's full-time caretakers that live on the property. So they use about 1,000 gallons a day per camp. They have run out of the water in the past. My husband has personally hauled water down to them. They rely on volunteers, financially, physically, in every way they can get funds. So it just shows the need for the water in this area especially, which is great because they're our neighbor and we want to take care of them. And then a concern of ours also is during dry season, Anderson River, which looks like a creek to me, gets very low, and we have a great concern if there's a fire in our neighborhood, no hydrants and hardly any water to use to put out fires. So, anyway, I just wanted to let you know also that we did complete the 2021 survey with Jackie at Antro when she was trying to get the ARP funds, which she did a great job. She needs a pat on the back because that's fabulous. And we also did the survey again in March of this year as she requested us to do so. We've talked to Daniel at Patoka Lake. When I say we, the neighbors on 80ville Road that are requesting this water. We really need this. So, but anyway, Daniel at Patoka, he knows that our street, our names, which the next page are the names and addresses of the neighbors that are checked out on there. So anyway, Daniel's aware, Jackie's aware, and I just want to thank you for your time, and we'll stay in touch with Jackie and the meetings. So I watch her meetings sometimes. So that's all. We really just want to put our name in the hat for the water.
Got a couple comments if you're done.
Yes, I am.
And maybe a question too.
Okay.
Thank you for doing what you're doing for your community, for first and foremost. From the history, from when Patoka put that in, you said 40 years ago or so, 35, 40 years ago. What was the reason they stopped right off 62? Was it mainly because of the Anderson River crossing it, or do you?
I think so. Yeah.
I think that, I don't think they had enough participation at that point,
Okay.
where since then there's been a lot more.
Yeah. Of course, I know your son built a new home right next door. He's
Mhm.
out there, Matt. 'Cause-
Yeah, I have a nephew who's fixing to build. The water's just been a big issue.
And there is a lot of building sites on that road. We cut through there here a month ago with the Jeep.
And of course, Isaac and Megan now.
Yeah.
Got a new family and starting a new family behind us, so. Been a lot more change over the past few years.
And you are correct about the Anderson Woods and your area having fires.
Mhm.
And that, they need water.
Yeah.
So now you're going to get the background. In our ARP committee, okay, and it is a committee organized together.
Okay.
One thing we did, we wanted to make a difference with this money. We recognize that people won't join our county if they have the expectations of twice a week hauling water
Right.
just to have drinking water. So we thought this is a priority because we need to grow. Okay, Jackie came in and asked on behalf of Anderson Township and Troy Township for money for a study. Well, the committee looked at that request and it was substantially less than we appropriated. And we, as a committee, decided that we didn't want to just study the situation. We wanted water lines installed and people served. So with that, we came in and set aside $500,000 for this.
Okay.
Our ARP funds are allowed to be the matching part of grants. We've reached out also with the participation of the Antro and also Patoka Valley. And we have several entities that we think will be positive towards that. So if we can take what would be a $500,000 investment and get a 20% match, we can get $2.5 million. If we can manage to get a 90% match, we will have $5 million. With this said, it takes time for these wheels
Sure.
to go through the process. We have our local, state, and federal legislatures have been contacted. They're actively supporting this process. This is the reason we went through, we thought strategically, if we can take our ARP funds and use them for matching, we can get more bang for the dollar and serve more people. This takes time.
Mhm.
We're doing the surveys now. They're being platted on the GIS system of the county to try to target specific regions that we can serve easier, quicker, cheaper. One of the obstacles, and this is a problem, is that they require these water companies to make specific size diameter pipes. Because if you're served with an 1.5-inch pipe, it can't be extended. So what they do is they have requirements for larger pipes, which larger pipes means more money, but they can connect onto it at a different time and continue on. So that creates a more expensive project. We also have a lot of national forest grounds here. And if we have a customer on one side and a need to be customer on the other, and we have to build 2 miles of line across that national forest with no opportunity to sell a gallon of water,
Mhm.
it's very expensive. And we've had this discussion with those who can make a difference in this whole thing. So we're working through that process where it seems like it's grinding on specifically really, really slow. We are moving forward, and Jackie will, and I appreciate it. They're doing all this without hiring any additional people. They could have said, we're going to serve who we serve and just leave it alone. They are willing. Also, the discussion's been held. Whoever's closest, whether it's Patoka, whether it's Troy Township, whether it's Anderson, whoever's the closest with the facilities, they're going to serve the people rather than saying, hey, that's my territory.
Mhm.
We're not going to allow you to do it. So they have a very, very good attitude, and I appreciate it. We had a group of local people through their businesses that shared that survey for us, and that's a definite plus. They're on board. So we're working through this process, and just to share a little bit more with you, the state legislature just approved 500 million additional funds for Ready 2. A lot of that will be geared towards infrastructure. I was at a meeting where the response was made, a lot of the counties are going to struggle for the matching parts of those grants because all their ARP money has been spent. Rest assured, Perry County's has not. The committee decided to strategically try to get more for every dollar we spend. So I recognize your situation, and hopefully we can do grand things.
Yeah.
That's the intent.
Well, I appreciate you as well. I said Jackie,
So-
but I didn't know there was an ARP committee. How often do you meet?
We met initially how it was set up, and I wasn't on it initially.
Okay.
That first round, they wanted to get money to those small businesses, nonprofits that qualified underneath the rules that could show a loss associated with COVID. That was the restrictions we run.
Okay.
That was a moving ball. The restrictions just kept changing on us. We did that, and then some people failed to supply supporting documentation. So we had like round 1A to give them an opportunity to supply additional documentation. We've done it through a structure like that rather than just awarding anytime somebody walks in the door $1. We set up procedures so all are notified and they can come in and do it.
Yeah.
So then we went through round 2, which kind of opened it up for projects, and that's where Jackie came in.
Okay.
As a nonprofit water co-op. She would fall into that.
Mhm.
And she came in and presented her needs to the group, as did many others. And during that time, we had multiple days of these interviews of people and their ideas. And that's where our funding in round 2 came.
Okay.
And that's when she got her funding. So we haven't set up round 3 in anticipation to try to understand where these grants may be coming from, because what we want to do is make sure that we can get as much funding through the state, through the USDA, through Okra, in the case of water lines, that we possibly can. Because we recognize that we've got many beautiful areas to locate homes and live within this county.
Sure.
And the water issue is crucial.
Yeah.
Fiber optic seems to be
Mhm.
taking care of itself.
Mhm.
But the
It does.
water is another issue. And at some point, when we do sit down with the government officials asking for money, I would like a sample of that well, freshly drawn, because they do not understand the quality of the well water if you're in one of these areas.
Mhm.
And I think they need to just smell it. And if they're,
We have one on our farm property too
Right.
that's slightly sulfur.
it's just,
I wouldn't drink out of it.
The more you have, the better. The
Okay.
more
but we need to,
samples.
Okay.
because a lot of them, they just do not understand they just take it for granted. As we do that, we have potable
Yeah.
water, you turn on the faucet, it comes,
Right.
it's not an issue until you've experienced it.
Yeah.
And I think it's crucial for our
Yeah.
growth. We just
Sure.
need to,
Mhm.
we need to do
Are
as much as
your
we can.
ARP meeting notes and with the state that you're talking about this Okra program? What-
They're
are
back
they
through,
Public?
The meetings have been, I've had multiple meetings back and forth with the Anderson, Troy Township, because they're kind of co-oping together is what they do. And also Region 15 plus the state and federal. And that's just on a personal basis. There was no notes or
Okay,
anything.
okay.
Because what I wanted to do is make sure we have the support of them.
Mhm.
The National Forest is a federal entity. And if we can't get some type of participation with them,
Mhm.
we're going to struggle. So they need to have the legislatures on board with us.
I appreciate the
whatever we do.
information.
But Region 15 has been very helpful.
They're the ones
With
who
the
orchestrating the grants.
Finding the
Good.
grants for us.
So
We're happy for grants. Well, thank you
Yes.
for your time, everyone.
Yeah. thank you for coming.
It's a long process, but
We're patient.
we're going to get there.
Sylvia Brown and Thomas Forster is the next one on our list.
We have actually, a bunch of matters to do with our new director and the way the site's been run.
And you're speaking of,
Firing her. and-
no, I mean, what department or
Hay
what?
County Solid Waste.
Solid
Oh, yeah,
waste, okay.
The Kellenton site. Well, and actually I've had reports of the Branchville site too. And we've come across a couple other issues that she has not took care of, which is Bobcat tires.
Is what?
Bobcat tires.
Bobcat tires.
Which you've
Well, that's
seen.
hard tires.
You've seen the other stuff, ain't you? The trash and trailers. And now my driver is fed up with it, so he is retiring in about a couple of weeks. It leaves us about 3 short. We ain't got no help
I was terminated.
for no reason, really.
Okay, that's a personnel matter. that
Yeah,
has to be
it's-
taken up with the executive board.
But I've had so many calls on the Branchville side, the gate being closed. So she how she took care of that problem. She decided to go, whenever that woman out there wants to leave, she decided to go out there and take her place.
Do you have documentation on the calls and who called? and-
I still got one on my phone. I mean, I've told her, well, it started right off the bat. I mean, calls after calls. I had one on the first one on the answering machine was some woman, she was really angry. And all of them said the same thing. You need to get rid of that woman because she won't help the customers. And the gates are closed whenever she feels like it. And she's not gonna do nothing about it. Well, the rules of this place is absentees. I mean, if you miss 4 or 5 days, you're automatically fired. There's no tolerance in it. And that's the way I always, it's always been that way. Ever since Karen Stone opened it up there. And now, I'm not allowed to fire nobody or anything for that situation.
Do you have a handbook or any type of policy?
Yeah, I forgot to bring it.
Okay.
But see, I mean, that's always been the rules even before the handbook was put out.
All three of us, I'm going to speak for myself, and I think the three would be probably on board. We're all three on that solid waste committee. And I feel like that group needs to first address your issues rather than we're kind of the next layer up. And just like the tires and that, bring them to that point. We have an executive meeting concerning this
Tomorrow.
issue tomorrow at
Yes.
5:30, I think it is.
Yes.
So if you want to attend it, personnel matters, we cannot discuss, we can't discuss tires in
Well, yeah,
private.
We did not really know exactly
Yeah.
what you guys do. I mean,
Yeah,
what do you do?
well, we kind of run the county.
Two, on the solid waste, we as commissioners don't really have any more authority than the rest of the board because you got the mayor sitting on there, you got a council representative on there. So that's where this probably needs to be addressed.
Who's above the solid waste?
Or them, the other committee.
The solid waste board where it stops.
Oh, is it?
We are.
See, we have, the three of us by virtue of our offices are on there. Then there's a council member on there.
Mayor.
Two mayors.
The mayor, two mayors of both cities, one of the council members from Tell City.
Mhm.
What am I missing? Is that it?
I think that's it.
I think this is the only board that we don't really appoint as commissioners. It's the way it was set up years ago that automatically, like Randy said, the mayor of Canton and Tell City's on there, got a council member. So I don't have any more authority than the rest of the board, or Becky or Randy doesn't either. So this issue needs to be addressed at the solid waste meeting.
Alrighty.
And tomorrow, if you have something employment related,
You need to.
Yeah, we're gonna,
Yeah.
we'll be there. That one is.
but
It will be
it
here.
has to be employment related.
Right, personnel.
So,
Yes.
All right.
But we just really didn't know. Well, I was directed in about 2 or 3 different directions, and I finally hit on one person. And
So
it's
we-
like,
yeah,
who
we-
governs who? What? And I asked him. I said, "Well, what do they do anyway?"
Well, apparently
I
we
mean,
found out,
not to
didn't
be
we?
sarcastic.
No.
Yeah, but I mean, you're no different than a lot of the public, and it just takes a little time. And even when you come in at a position like this, you got to learn the different boards and how they function. And so, yeah, you're asking the right questions, where to go. So you're doing
No
it.
question that you don't know is
Can I
a
have
stupid
it?
question.
sure.
That's right.
Unless you want to keep them until tomorrow, and
Well,
you'll
this
be
would-
there tomorrow. Or,
Yeah, but we
Yes.
probably shouldn't discuss
Oh, yeah,
tires
right.
Yes,
in
sir.
in an
Like I
executive
said,
session.
All right.
You're more than welcome tomorrow to address your concerns at the executive board meeting. That's your right as a citizen. So,
And a former employee.
yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Next one on the agenda is Dixie Dickerson.
It's gonna be real short now. I was going to talk about the same issue, only maybe some positive comments. So I hear
Is
now,
it employment related?
no, it's
Okay,
not. No, it's not. So do I need to go to the solid waste committee tomorrow though too?
No, tomorrow is a executive
Like they're-
board meeting
Oh, okay.
involving personnel.
And it'll be behind closed door because
Okay.
we're
The
discussing
next
employment.
meeting will, is always the last Thursday,
the
fourth
same as
Thursday.
the-
Fourth Thursday of the month.
Yeah, at 4 o'clock right here.
right here.
Okay. So, I mean, you don't want to, my comments today were gonna be that Branchville Recycling Center right now is the cleanest it's been for a while, even though the previous people did a great job too.
What I would encourage you to do is come to
Okay.
the solid waste, express
Do
those
it
same
again.
thoughts.
Thank you.
That way the whole entire board will hear them rather than just the three of us.
Okay,
Right.
so Randy, when did you say it was?
It's,
Fourth Thursday of the month at
Thursday
4
of the month.
o'clock.
Okay,
Here.
all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're
Have a good
welcome.
day,
right in this room right here.
All right, okay, thank you.
Next one's Greg Jarbo.
Mine's easy. Animal shelter asked for a desktop PC, so I'm donating that to them.
Thank you very
That's a
much,
good one.
Greg.
If you need anything else, you just tell me. And the reason I'm up here is I hope everybody in the county starts doing this kind of thing because it's going to take everybody to keep this thing running.
Yes,
So
yes, it is.
that's the reason I'm up here. So got my support.
Appreciate it, Greg.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're down to the minutes from, so if I can read this, 5/16/23, last meeting. Everyone's had a chance to review them. I need a motion to accept them.
I make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0. And Chris, I want to make a comment. I truly appreciate the minutes, whoever, whether you're doing them or your office or whatever, they're timely. I know in the past, sometimes it seems like months have been between the minutes and that. But since you've taken this over, you've promptly got them out. It's much easier for us to read them because we remember the last meeting and we can confirm it. So I really appreciate getting
Yes,
them out timely.
we do,
It
Chris.
helps. Next thing, Chris, you're up on approval of the payroll.
All right, we've got two payrolls. The 5/2 payroll in the amount of $165,193.21. Today's payroll 6/5 in the amount of $160,923.30.
Any questions, comments concerning the payroll?
No.
Make a motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
3-0.
Okay.
Next one.
As far as claims, we've got our original claim docket of $416,762.04. Our life insurance claims, this is just our premium payment, $1,491 and a penny. Our health insurance claims, $234,602.66.
Any questions or comments concerning those three items?
I'll make that motion to approve, Randy.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0.
I have some things I just want to update, and as Stella did, I'm going to read my notes so I don't forget anything. Just wanted to keep everybody informed on some, what I look at as positive things going on here in the courthouse, that all of the offices here have been working diligently to make things better, more cost efficient and time efficient in our work. So as of right now, we will officially run our claim docket today as electronic funds transfer. We've been taking baby steps to get acclimated, ensure that all the T's are getting crossed and I's are getting dotted. We started with our LIT funds recipients and appreciate them working with us as we set up these transfers. I commend my staff as this has been a lot of work setting the foundation for this, but in the long run, it will be more cost efficient for the county and of course, more time efficient. We in the auditor's office are running 2 claim dockets a month now. Our regular claim docket will be the first of the month. Then we will have our advanced claim docket, which is all the invoices that are due prior to the first of the month meeting. Running this advanced claim docket mid-month avoids late fees and interest charges. So we've worked with all of the departments to get a new system in play with that, where before we were only paying things one time at the first of each month. As times change, a lot of businesses are not accommodating to the county only paying one time a month. Therefore, we would incur late fees and interest charges if our payments were late. So this will eliminate that chance of that. The next thing we're doing is remote claims. If everyone remembers, in February, we rolled out the remote access for all of the commissioners, council, and departments to allow them to have access to their financials on their own without having to contact the auditor's office. This is more time efficient for them and our office as well. We're getting ready to roll out doing remote claims. We in the auditor's office are going to begin to roll out with selected departments starting to enter their claims electronically. Currently, all departments handwrite or type their claim forms, attach their supporting documents, and hand deliver to the auditor's office for them to enter. As we did with EFT, we are going to take baby steps on this. I know with change comes concern, so I wanted to mention some positives of transitioning to digital and electronic claims. When a department receives an invoice, they can enter it at their desk, scan and attach the supporting paperwork, such as invoices or receipts. Keep paper copies for their records if they so choose. This is more time efficient for them. This is more time efficient for our auditor's office. Looking up claims will be easy for everyone. Typically right now, they have to come to our office. We go to a file, pull that out. Commissioners, council, departments, if they need to look up a claim, they can do it electronically. They will not have to go through paper files. Also, papers will not get lost, and this will be more accountable. I have been informed through this transition to digital electronic claims since going paperless in the auditor's office, we will see a significant decrease in our State Board of Accounts audit expenses. The more they can do off-site, the better. This is the same if we transition to a time and attendance software where we currently use paper pencil time cards. So the auditor's office for the month of June and July is working with our LOW program to get everything set up on our end. The courthouse offices will roll out in August, sheriff offices in September, North and South Annex offices in October, Highway Department and Probation Prosecutor's Office in November. So those are just some keynotes there. So, all right. Now, the LOW attendance
Here she's
on
after money now.
demand quote, okay? I put some numbers together for the commissioners, okay? Back in January, when the auditor's office absorbed the administrator position, we have been taking over those duties fully in 2023, where I know the auditor's office and some other offices were handling those duties the latter part of 2022 when the administrator left. So just numbers on salaries, with us absorbing that, we have saved $29,081. I didn't add these together, I'm sorry. Let me add this real quick. It comes out of two funds. Okay, we saved $30,405 just in salary. That's not counting the cost for insurance and all that. So just actual money that's in a fund right now that was already appropriated for the 2023 budget. We saved $30,405. Okay. We already appropriated $4,000 out of those funds to be used for the remote access, which we are just getting ready to start now. Or the remote claims, I apologize. Remote access and remote claims. Total remaining appropriation in 2023 is $26,405. The approximate cost for the software is $38,500. So what I am asking the commissioners, if the remaining appropriation of $26,405 can be transferred to the commissioner or to the auditor's software fund and put towards the purchase of the LOW attendance on demand software, then I would this will leave a remaining balance of $12,095 that I would have to see for an additional appropriation from the council. I would like to get this all set up to roll out in 2024, especially with some of the projected or proposed changes that we're making in the personnel policy handbook for 2024 in regards to breaking up to where people earn their vacation and sick time as they go. That's going to be way too much and too much possibility for error in manually figuring all that. This is going to take a bit of time. As you guys know, we started with the remote access in February and we're just now getting the remote claims set up. It takes time to set all this up. As you know, the approval to purchase the remote claims was done in February, sorry. I feel we need to go ahead and get on the list with LOW to be set up for to get the setup rolling in 2023 to implement in January 1 of 2024, because it's already June. So
Yeah, you're looking for a comment, aren't you?
I am.
I don't have a problem with transferring that money over. I sat through a state board of account exit interview concerning an employment matter just last week, and one of their comments was we need to kind of get our record keeping as far as employees when they're coming to work, leaving for lunch and back out, because the current documentation that's provided is lacking. So that was one of their encouragements, and I said we were in the process of looking at that and working towards that. The only question, we need to make sure we get our handbook correct and any modifications. This will be a rule-based software, and we need to make sure our rules are correct. before they implement it, or we'll be back changing it.
Absolutely.
The other thing is I'd like to have a conversation with the Lao people about the hourly rate after we have our ducks in a row. Because I think if your office gets organized with all the classification of employees and their location, we can possibly carve a little money out of that proposal. But I think it's a good idea to implement it with the existing Lao software so we don't have multiple different softwares trying to communicate with one another. It should eventually streamline the process. So I don't have a problem with it. Any other comments as far as transferring the money over?
Is
With
this
those-
going to have, will this include their maintenance fees?
Well,
And
this is what, we probably won't get this started until, we won't get this started until January. There's no point in starting this mid-month. So what I'd like to do is purchase the software, or at least get on, the list where we're doing that, do all the setup in 2023. And then for my 2024 budget,
roll it out?
I will have the monthly maintenance fee of $950 a month figured in my budget
Okay.
to start in January. So it wouldn't be any monthly fees for 2023. But I just figured since we already had this money appropriated, and this will streamline more things in my office, allow us to have more time where we're not spending 5 days on payroll to pay attention to other things that in a sense have been on the back burner or not had the attention that they need.
On this maintenance fee of $950 a month,
Mhm.
is this going to be written in stone for a year? Is it going to be written,
We'll have to get
the
all
life
that.
of
That was the quotes that we had been
Yeah.
given back in February of this year. So I'm sure once we move forward and make sure all that.
Mhm.
I know that Loud just sent me the annual fees for our current thing for budget preparation for this year. So, which these aren't on there because we're not
Mhm.
currently enrolled. So if we get this going, then we'll know for sure.
Yeah, I was just wondering if, this would be written in stone for a year
At least a year.
on a
yes.
contract or what?
Yes,
And
typically
that,
they do a year.
good point.
Because
Because-
everything is rising.
Mhm.
I don't care what it is.
And we don't want to necessarily buy software that we find in a year or two, the
Mhm.
maintenance costs have
Right.
skyrocketed on us. So
Right.
we need to have some assurance from them that won't happen.
I will check on the maintenance costs.
If you could get like maybe a 2-year, if they would be willing to go with that, that would at least save money there, so they couldn't come in and jump the price up on the county or your office or your budget.
It's a substantial investment, not only to buy
Yes.
it, but to implement it. So
I guess the question I would have, is there any concerns from any of the department heads in your department? Would that affect anything? I don't know, we got some department heads out there in the crowd. Not really.
the problem we got,
I see both sides of it, so it just, it's a big expense up front.
Do you think it will make it run smoother? Everything will run smoother?
It'll have bugs, but we'll work it out.
Mhm.
We'll figure it out.
See, as
mostly,
commissioners, we kind of lean on the department heads for questions like this, and
most entities have went to some type of a time clock or in our electronic recording. We use a pencil and a piece of paper. And
As agent.
yes, yes. And then you struggle, some of them are, their penmanship isn't the greatest, and try to interpret what was actually written down. It's difficult. Now, I don't know whether Chris, whether we want to make a motion to transfer that or ask to do it, or whether we want to just say we support the process, or how you want to handle that.
It can't be paid out of, because currently right now it's in a salary line item. So it's going to have to be transferred to a software. It's not like it has to be done today, but I want to get the ball rolling on this because these 5 months have flown by, and if we don't get on the list, then we're going to be going a whole nother.
So are you going to bring this in front of the council at the
Yes.
next meeting?
Hey, Randy, I got a question also. Maybe Steve could help me on this, the highway department. Will it affect those guys out there, like when they're at night, when they gotta go out on emergency
We've
run?
already worked that out with,
Okay.
they can, see the whole thing, the department head will be able to modify or adjust any of that. So a lot of that times where they're called out at night, the department supervisor, their person can can do that, can
Okay.
change that.
Yeah,
So,
I didn't want to
yeah.
affect where they'd have to go into the
no,
highway department
No.
and then go back.
No.
A tree could be right, they might pass it on the way, you know? So,
No.
And see, that's
Might
the
not
whole
be able to
thing.
get there because of a tree.
Part of our costs associated with this is the courthouse runs under a 35-hour work week.
Mhm.
Then you have the sheriff's department, it's completely different. You got the highway department, once again, it's different. So we have all these different entities that operate a little unique. So each one of them has to be rule-based as far as how your comp time works, who's eligible, whether you're, and I'm going to use the salaried non-hourly versus the exempt and non-exempt. It's easier to understand, but those things have to be built into the software, and then it'll be automated. You'll keep track of where your vacation days are, where your comp days are, and it won't be nearly as time consuming. But it'll take a little time to get it put in place. And to make sure we've got everybody properly in there. So, but I don't know what's the consensus as far as,
If it's gonna move forward in technology with all the departments, the courthouse, Chris and her department, we've got to move forward. I mean, we can't
Randy,
stay with
what's your
paper and pencil.
we've got what, 26,000 left in that employment account, right? In that number?
26,405.
Okay.
2645.
So,
I guess it's really going to depend on the council if they can fund the 12.5.
Mhm.
I mean, we could be supportive. We can say we'll take that money and use it towards that. I mean, it's what your thoughts are. If we want to do that now, we want to verbally tell them we're okay with that and take action when the time comes, but I'm open, whatever you think.
I think we can do it that way as long as the council can find the funding. If they can't find it, then it shuts us down.
Okay.
Yep.
So take that as that we're okay with it, Chris. If the council finds additional funding to support it, then
You
we'll
need to get
take
a motion
whatever
on that?
action. I don't think we have to. I think we have a consensus with that. Whenever the time comes, whatever account we need to transfer it to, we can advertise it and do that,
Okay.
whatever's required. So I think we're on, we all want to go there. It's just how we get there. Next thing is your budget calendar.
The next thing, yes, I just want to keep you guys informed of where we're at as we are already starting with our 2024 budget preparation. All the departments have already been handed out their worksheets, or will have them back to me by the end of this month. This week, I am getting out to all of the businesses and non-for-profit, I guess not businesses, not-for-profits that we support to have them as well have everything back to me by the end of the month. That's set to go out this week. I'm still waiting to hear back from Robert Norris in regards to our budget workshop for county taxing units to meet with the DLGF reps. I put on the calendar here corresponding with the dates that we did last year. Just still waiting to hear back from Robert. He said he'd get back with me this month. Then we have to have information, our Form 3 submitted to Gateway by September 4th. At the council meeting on August 24th, they'll review the estimated levy and circuit breaker reductions. The public hearing and first reading of budget between the council and individual departments will be September 13th at 5 p.m. The budget sessions are going to be Tuesday, September 19th, Wednesday, September 20th, and Thursday, September 21st. We had to move this up a week due to the AIC conference being the last week, which is when we normally have our workshop, but I didn't want to go into October, so that's why I moved it up a week. And the budget adoption will be October 12th. So just wanted to keep you guys informed of the calendar layout as time is just flying by this year.
Chris, I see here on the all-day budget sessions,
Mhm.
they're going to be at the meeting room at the Armory Annex.
Yes, that's where they were last year.
Okay. I was just
Yes.
making sure.
Yeah.
You need to
Do-
test their system
Yes.
and make sure that it's live.
That will be live, correct? Good.
Test the system and make sure we can do it live.
Okay, thank you. That's what I was wondering about.
And then Chris, would you like to share what Perry County being first in the state?
Oh, yeah. So as we all know, property taxes were due May 10th. And we worked diligently with the treasurer's office, the assessor's office, through property tax season time. And then we submitted our spring settlement to the DLGF, basically for approval on May 18th. And we were the first county in the state of Indiana to submit approval. They weren't even ready for us yet. We were trying to submit our Form 22s, and they weren't even ready for us yet. So I'm super, super proud of the work we've been doing here. I mean, everybody's working diligently together, and
I just have 2 words to say about that. Thank you, Chris.
And
not
those
just me,
involved.
not just
I
me.
think that's very,
Absolutely.
very,
That's what we,
that's a plus.
that's what we
for Perry
strive
County.
for. Next item up is opening the bids. We'll see where we're at.
Get your heart open.
You thought I was pulling a knife on you, didn't you?
No, I've seen worse.
Steve, you ready for this?
Yep.
Okay.
And Steve, I've got a question for you. I drove the roads over the weekend, and that's where you're putting in the culverts and that.
Yeah.
Do these bids include filling that back in with asphalt, digging it out and filling those in? Okay. And then I noticed they also, along the edge of a road, a couple of them, I don't know what caused a little dip along the edge. Do they wedge that to try to bring that road up so that the shoulders? Okay. Okay. Okay.
I know I drove down what's formerly Boyd Road. I don't even know what they call it now. And we hit one of them. Phew, I'm like, oh, goodness gracious. Are they going, which road is going to be
We're
Paved
gonna go look
first.
for the-
I know, that'll be up to the contractor when the bid is awarded.
Okay.
They'll tell us when they start paving and what they're doing first.
Okay, if you could possibly check some of those there on the former Boyd Road or whatever, some of them are dipped in that
They
deep.
said on, we have to go back there once.
Yeah, I'm afraid it's gonna tear up
Okay.
someone's vehicle. And
You don't have paper clips.
I don't want that.
Never mind, I'll just read them as we
I mean,
go.
the junk I drive, it don't matter, but someone
Here, we can
and
take
even
these off.
motorcycles, there's a lot of motorcycles out now, and people pulling boats and stuff, and it could be a dangerous situation. If you could just have some of the guys check on that, maybe fill them in, I'd appreciate it.
I just want to let everybody know these bids were advertised May 8th and May 15th with the deadline of 6/2 at 4 p.m.
Steve, do we have 4 bids, 4 projects?
We have
There's
three
two.
community crossings, 2 left.
So I gotta find a 5th number in here yet.
They submitted these as 2 separate bids though, right? Like, so there's
Yeah,
2
there's
separate
a whole
bids for
group
each.
here.
Community
I see it.
crossing should be one, and it should be a separate one.
Yeah.
The second one's what? Oh, the left, okay.
Okay, the first one, this is CNR Construction, and this is for Boundary Way Road from Tell City limits to Old State Road 237. It's broke down. I'm not going to get necessarily into that. Total bid price for them is $239,241 for that project.
Is that just for that one?
Yes,
Road.
that's Boundary Way
Okay.
to Old 237, excuse me. The second bid is from Boyd Road, from State Road 237 to Deer Creek Road. The sum of that project is $782,032. The third project is Starlight Road, from Old State Road 37 to Boyd Road. That project is $226,637. The next project is Starlight Road from Old State Road 37 to Boyd Road. That project is $226,637. 37.
Is that the one you just said?
That's what I thought you
Did I just do it? Do I have two
Yeah.
copies in here?
Yeah, I was like, you just
Yeah.
said that one.
I sure did.
Because I started saying, where's another
Hey.
Starlight Road?
They're gonna charge us twice for that one. I'm glad you're writing it down and catching it. Was the price the same or are we gonna have
Yeah,
it
the price
cheaper?
was-
No, same.
Okay. Let's see.
And CNR is out of Corden, correct?
That is correct.
And you have worked with them before, right, Steve?
Okay, this is a quote, let's see. This is a proposal. Dates, government item. Looking for, you see where it's covering? See an amount
You just bring it to them.
for all of them together. So that would be the,
That'd be the grand total.
okay. So the total for those three projects, correct?
Mhm.
From them, $1,247,910. That's the total for those three. So let's find the other two.
Steve, which is the biggest one here? Would that be the Boyd Road to Deer Creek Road? Was that about 5 miles? Okay.
This is the 61.
Yeah, Steve said there's two more quotes in here. I know where to find them.
They might have, I think they did those in a separate, no, they didn't. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
did in a
did.
separate folder.
Okay. So I'll
Because
go
they're
looking
two
at that.
different, yeah, sorry.
And then this is CNR.
We just did CNR. didn't we?
Yep, but this is for two other projects.
Oh, okay. Two other ones.
Community Crossings one and the other one is our other local lit money. Okay, this project is a resurfacing on Thrifty Road from the end of the pavement to Tide Road. $115,030.
Steve, how far of a, what kind of a measurement have we got there of miles? Mm-hmm. Right at a mile, okay. Right, joining two of them, okay.
I guess this is a separate project, but it's called here Tide Road from Thrifty Road to the end of pavement. And I've got one here that says Thrifty Road from the end of pavement to Tide Road.
Goes from one to the other, right?
Two different prices.
One of them should be to a dead end.
The first one here was Thrifty Road from dead end of pavement to Tide Road. The other one is Tide Road from Thrifty Road to end of pavement. So those are two separate projects. Okay, so the second project, Tide Road from Thrifty Road to the end of the pavement is $111,230.
We should have a grand total on those.
Well, I've got a top road from Tide Road
Yeah,
to a
the
dead
top-
end,
Yeah, Tope Road in there too.
and that's $99,984.
984.
So I have
So
three
did they do those two
three separate bids.
They did them as three instead of two.
Should have been separate. Both would have been from Fairview Road into pavement.
Okay, so those two on Thrifty and Tide should have been together, but they did them as two separate.
Mm-hmm.
Two different roads.
So is that the three
Yeah, that's the three.
we're looking for under that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what's the total on that?
I'm
I'm
looking.
adding it, they should have it added, but
Oh.
I'll check real quick.
One of them was for the patching on that road that was made a few years ago. There were several spots busted up. And I think they were gonna patch over them.
Yeah,
And then
there's business project.
It's got
and the second one was
326,
from the
244.
connected two sections of gravel pavement.
Okay, total on those three offerings was 326, 244. Okay,
326, 244.
326, 244.
Thank you.
This is E&B paving. I'm gonna try to get better at this.
This is E&B,
E&B.
and you've worked with them before also, right, Steve? I know it seemed like when they done the paving last year and a lot of the paving in Tell City, I seen all kinds of companies.
Yeah.
Because they were doing so much.
Okay, this first one they've got is from Boundary Way Road from Tell City to the old State Road 237. Total bid price $226,852. Their second bid is on Boyd Road from State Road 237 to Deer Creek Road. $717,288. And their third price is Starlight Road from Old State Road 37 to Boyd Road, $207,060.
And what's the total on that, did they say?
I'm a looking, Becky. See if I can get this. Their total is $1,151,200. Second bid from E&B. This is Thrifty Road from the end of the pavement to Tide Road. $102,081.50. They got her down. The second bid is Tide Road from Thrifty Road to end of pavement. 103,860. And their third price is from Tide Road to the dead end, $87,758 and another 50 cents. Total for this project, $293,700. The next bid is from J.H. Rudolph. their bid for Boundary Way from Tell City Limits to Old State Road 237. $240,238.80. Their bid from Boyd Road, State Road 237 to Deer Creek Road, $776,384.70. Their bid from Starlight Road, from Old State Road 37 to Boyd Road, $228,645.65. Their total bid for this portion, $1,245,269.15. Final bid, J.H. Rudolph. Thrifty Road from the end of the pavement to Tide Road, $109,990. Tide Road from Thrifty Road to the end of the pavement, $116,690. And from Hope Road to Tide Road, $107,837.50.
50 or 60?
50.
50.
Let's see. Find the total. Total for that entire project is $304,517.50. And that's our bids. So did anybody add them up? Who appears to be the lowest at this point?
Are we gonna do it all, or we just?
No, we're gonna,
They'll be separated
Yeah.
into two different.
first thing we do, my assumption is we would make a motion to approve the lowest qualified bidder, subject to review by legal counsel, and award at our next meeting. 344 something,
Rudolph,
the last one.
304,517.50.
334.
34.
17.
Okay. Is it 334?
I
Yeah,
got 334.
334. Because I had 304 when I added it.
Is it 304?
I had 304, that's why I was like, did I do something wrong?
What, adding the totals up?
Mhm.
I got 304.
So did I.
So did I read one wrong?
I can't add.
109,990,
Mm-hmm.
116,690,
107, 837.50. Is that what you got?
I got 334 again. Someone else got 334?
Did I read this
So
107,
they put it on there wrong.
837.50?
They made a mistake.
Mhm.
Let's take it.
334.
It's 334.
Okay, we're good.
So Who appears to be the lowest? I mean,
On the first one,
Look, our E and B is,
A and B.
Is
E
the
and B is
lowest
the
bid
lowest
on
on
A and
both
B
of them?
B on both.
on that one?
Yeah.
Vote on both.
So I would
And they're on
entertain,
both of them, actually.
I'd entertain a motion subject to, award to the lowest bidder, subject to, they need to be reviewed to make sure all the documentation's correct.
I'd like to, with that, Randy, have Steve, he usually goes over and makes sure everything is to a T, and the attorney also.
Mhm.
We have that motion. Do we have a second?
Yes.
All those in favor? Aye. Subject to review, it looks like E and B will be our contractor on those projects this year. Next item up is the Perry County Convention and Visitors Bureau. It's actually commission appointments. And we had several letters of interest. We received one from Lori Hamill, expressing her interest, from Beth Hauser, expressing an interest, from Stan Goffman, expressing interest in appointment, from Mary Wood, also expressing an interest. Michelle Powers expressed an interest. Megan Fritchley expressed an interest. And Samantha Reed expressed an interest. So I want to thank all those that applied. Good to see a lot of people interested in serving their community. So any discussions, comments? We have 2 appointments for that group.
I would like to nominate Lori Hamill. She has a very impressive letter. She's been a lot of places. She sees how things works and what brings things in.
I'll second that. We have a nomination of Lori Hamill to serve as one of the seats on the Convention and Visitors Commission. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm okay with her.
3-0, Lori will be one of the appointments.
I'd like to nominate Mary Woods. I know her a little bit from the bank. She's got, I think her letter said she's got approval from her work to take off during the day, during the meeting hours. I know she's heavily involved in community and 4-H and things like that. I do know that personally, so. I think she'd be a real asset to the board.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? I think we have good candidates though.
Mary Wood. There she is.
Hearing no second. The motion dies. I would like to make a motion to appoint Stan Goffman, and the reason we'll have someone from government involved with the board, and I think at this point that might be good. So I'll make the motion for Stan Goffman.
I'll second that motion. I don't think this.
We have a motion and a second for Stan Goffman to fill the other seat. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm against that.
2-1. So Stan Goffman and Lori Hamill will take the 2 vacant seats. The next item on the agenda is planning and zoning letters of interest. Yeah. You want those back?
I didn't even know there was still one on there.
And
I know.
we have had an opening on this for some time. And we have a letter of interest from Mandy Jackson. She's a local real estate person, and she asked to serve on here, which I think probably is good because she has a background in real estate. So,
I'll make a motion to appoint Mandy Jackson to the board.
we've got a motion,
I'll second that motion.
second by Randy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So she's on the planning and zoning. Next item on the agenda is the TIF districts, courthouse, TC 1 and 2. At a recent redevelopment meeting, the redevelopment commission voted to dissolve the courthouse, which the courthouse has been down to 85% on a pass-through, and also dissolve Tell City 1 and 2, which currently has no projects and/or money in it. There's a cost with the accounting process to keep these things open, and when and if there's a need. State law says that if not but for is, and it's paraphrased, but in essence, if the reason you have a TIF is that you need to have, the only reason to have this new development is because a TIF is required in order to secure it. Without having projects in 1 or 2, it's hard to meet that bar without knowing what they might be. So they voted to dissolve those 3 TIFs. And that's why I put it on for discussion and action. And we'll eliminate the, if so moved, eliminate the cost associated with yearly accounting from Baker Tilly.
On the courthouse TIF, when was it gonna expire?
What does that cost?
It seems like every time they send us a bill, it's 10,000 or so, but I mean, I don't know exactly. The redevelopment could share that with you. They're the ones that gets the invoices on the thing.
When was the courthouse TIF expired?
It's actually set to expire, I think, in 25 is when it would be over mandated by state law. So,
And
and
there
it
was
brings in 25 or 30,000, I think, is what it actually brings in with the
25 or 30.
yeah, that's what it brings in. I think maybe 25 net, and I think the other, maybe it brings in 32, and the other 5 or 7,000 is used up in fees, just for keeping it up and operating.
How much is, Chris, you might not know this offhand, but what's in that account?
In courthouse,
Yeah,
in balance $261,479.13.
261. Okay. And if it would expire in 2 years, it'd be another 60. That's kind of if we'd have a major issue here with a chiller or something like that, that's a fund that we could ask to help until we get our feet on the ground with our courthouse maintenance.
Yeah, TIF funds can't be used for maintenance. I know in the past they have.
Yeah.
They've actually.
Improvements.
They have actually litigated that maintenance because we're not the only county that did that, and clearly we can't use it for that. What we have to use it for, it's kind of narrow. It has to be infrastructure and things of that nature. And
Would, just for example, would the parking lot resurfacing be an improvement?
that would be a maintenance thing. I'm comfortable. That's where you get legal counsel. The thing about it is they still have money in there, so we still can use it. If we have a need for it that is legal.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily, I would like to see the redevelopment keep those funds instead of distributing them
Mhm.
so they can use within the TIF district as the need arises. I wouldn't, but I just to get rid of the cost of keeping them open.
Okay.
Is the thought.
I just had those questions. And on TIF 1 and TIF 2, I think I might ask Perry County Development, do you see any issue with that?
I think that.
You want to step up here, Aaron, just for people in the crowd outside looking in?
There are not currently any projects that are utilizing those. We talk about the potential of utilizing them. The only disadvantage I see in dissolving them is that if you do want to use them again, then you will have to go through all of the time and the legal expense to reestablish them. And I don't think that there is an annual fee if there's nothing running through them. I think the fee that you're referring to, Randy, is for all of them, and the annual reporting on those. But I don't think that they have an annual expense if there are no funds coming in and out with them.
I would think there'd be some record keeping required, but I may be mistaken. I've never seen the invoice, the redevelopment gets those invoices, so I would just be speculating.
And TC 1 and 2, what area does that cover?
One of them includes the new apartment area where the proposed hotel area, and then the other covers Swiss Plywood on like 9th, Main 9th.
Seeing what we're into right now, you remember the discussion on the eye care center out here?
Yes.
It's in a TIF district. Then they came in and asked for abatement. The two don't play well together. TIF means we're going to collect property taxes and use them for infrastructure. Abatement means they're not going to pay those taxes. So if we can't collect the taxes to support the TIF district because we gave an abatement, we can't do anything with the TIF district. And it seems, and I think, did the apartments take an abatement? It's a more simplified process is if we have an abatement versus going through this whole TIF process, the issuance of bonds and those things. So, I mean, given if someone comes in and says they want a TIF or needs a TIF and they don't want an abatement in that situation, and I say if it's a worthwhile project, we spend the money and do whatever we need to do. But I think things, from what I've seen in the last year or two, abatement is becoming more popular than the TIF end of it. So it's my perception of it.
How much more areas in that next to the apartments could be developed in that TIF? for
I don't
future?
think there's
Not much.
a lot more, at least in that area. I think the one that has more potential would be the Swiss Plywood.
Is that the TIF too then?
I can't keep them straight. I can't remember which one is one and which one is two. I know they both have zero funds because they're so.
They're just hanging there. They were set up in 2015
Mhm.
and have had zero funds since then. So that's 8 years ago.
That's been sitting there too for 8 years.
Well, they have, but there's nothing that's been
Nothing major,
captured. There's, I feel like there's no harm. It existed should a project, it be what needed to make the project happen if it came along.
Only thing concerns me, if you start taking your tools away to help your growth of your community, I feel like this is a tool already in place, and if it's not costing us very much money, you don't know what the future is going to bring on development downtown. You know, that we're trying to grow every part of the county. And
I mean, that's valid, but I mean, if for instance, we had a need for the intersection up at 64, we can pass a TIF for a specific area up there as long as we have a project that meets the state requirements. And it's just a matter of, I think, a month or two or whatever the process, because I know that was asked of Ice Miller and Baker Tilly about how long it would take to do it. So, I mean, we're not taking away that tool. We're simply only going to follow what the state says, but if not for the TIF, this project would not occur. And that's what state statute requires. Until we get a project, we can't apply that concept. So these things hanging around, if there's a project comes up, if there's a $50 million project comes into downtown Tell City and by some requirement, they don't want an abatement, they want a TIF, I think we would clearly reinstate a TIF to support them in that. I mean, so I don't, it's just cleaning up some of the outlying issues so that, similar to Chris getting the claim docket and the electronic payroll so that we don't have things out there that aren't being utilized.
what I meant by that tool, that'd be tool just in that one TIF. I'm for any other TIF district. If we to develop the northern part of the county.
If we can get
I'm
growth,
just
I don't
thinking
care
that
where
area,
it is.
you know, so-
We're all on the same page there.
Yeah.
Growth.
Yeah,
That's
I'd
what
love
we
to
want.
see it go in the northern part of the county too. And I'm hearing about it.
I'll make a motion to dissolve those 3 TIFs.
I'll second that motion.
I'm gonna vote no on them just because of the one at Tell City. I agree with the one at the courthouse. It probably needs to be, since that fund's in there. If you could make them 2 different motions, Randy,
Yeah, that's.
I would vote for the,
If that's what you
Dissolve the-
prefer, I mean, so the record shows.
let's go with the courthouse here first.
Okay, I'll make a motion to dissolve the courthouse TIF.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so courthouse were 3-0. And then I'll make,
Who seconded that one? Sorry, RC,
Uh,
RT. RK?
I'll second that.
RK I made the motion, he seconded.
Okay, sure.
Okay. And then TIF 1 and 2, I'll make a motion to dissolve those 2.
No, I'll see.
Becky seconded that one, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll vote nay,
Opposed.
Randy, on that one.
Okay, 2-1 on the 2 Tell City TIFs. Health insurance. Um, This is another issue that is not looking really pretty this year. We have spent around $200,000 more than we had actually anticipated spending so far, and we're not even into half of the year, which is 25% of our actual reserve funds that we have set aside. So if the year continues like this, we're going to have half of our reserve funds used up in addition to all the money we have allocated. So it's not a really good year. With that said, we had discussed this a little bit. I've looked into it. The 3 areas that I copied down, and it has to do with employee eligibility. One of them is, let's see, it has to do with being able to buy, and the verbiage that probably needs to be changed if we so choose to is that the 30-hour per week requirement does not apply to elected officials. And that comes up in a couple areas. But we have an availability for what we had discussed as part-time, which would be council, commissioners, surveyor, and coroner. The ability to continue on the county's health insurance from age 55 through 65 at a 50% reduction in the rate and the COBRA premium. I did look into that, and we have state requirements to provide that for our employees that are full-time, but we're not required to subsidize it. So in essence, if someone chooses to retire from the county, they would be have a COBRA benefit up until age 65, but they would pay the full cost, what
Is
it's
this-
cost the county.
Full-time or part-time?
Full-time.
Full-time.
Full-time, we have to do that.
Yes.
And I want to qualify, because I've reached out to the handbook people, Apex, our health providers, and the attorneys, and this is what I've received back, but all this is subject to all of them agreeing legally we're doing what we legally can do. But we have to provide that under state statute for those that are full-time that choose to be on that program up to age 65 with Medicare. They are Medicare eligible. But we don't have to subsidize it by paying 50% of it, which at today's current rate would be $135,000 on a family plan. We're subsidizing a retiree. That's what it amounts to. So it's a fair amount of
That's
money.
per year?
That's over a 10-year period. It'd be $13,500 annually, which is half of the $27,000 that it costs to provide the family plan. And that's not necessarily our limit of the liabilities, because we self-insure for $60,000 per individual. So our costs can go up substantially more than that. That has to do with the extended, and if we want to talk about these in segments, we can. I mean, I think that rather than putting them all together, comments on that retirement benefit, because currently it's written up as though part-timers, less than 30 hours, could also participate in the 50% reduction in the COBRA for the 10-year period. So,
If I remember right, Randy, I think that's if you've been an employee for 20 years.
you have to be 20 years, I've got it, I copied here, you have to be 20-year employee, 10 years active, and participate in the retirement program for 15 years.
Okay.
Is part of the stipulations underneath the way our documents are put together. And that is pretty well out of state statute.
Would that be at 50%?
The 50% is an option. The county can or can't, they're not required to do that. For full-time employees, they're required to provide this benefit, but they do not have to subsidize it. We just have to provide it. But that is on the,
So what we're really talking about, Randy, we still have to provide it, but you just take away the portions county funding.
we take away the 50% that the county would be obligated to do it. And if we change the part-time, this segment that says 30 hours per week is required, but does not apply to elected officials, then it takes the elected officials off the eligibility for that. That's what it does.
Of the carrying after they're out of office.
Right. I'm going to do these in pieces.
Yeah.
That way it's a little simpler. Yeah. Because what it's set up for right now is if you're age 55 and served 20 years, 10 of which have been immediately preceding the retirement date for the county, and 15 years in the retirement plan, you're eligible for it. That's the way it's written currently. And we subsidize it by 50% of the cost. I would make a motion on that to remove the 50% subsidy and remove eligibility for part-time employees, or part-time, it would be employees, but part-time elected officials,
Employees.
which is made up of 12 individuals currently. Pending insurance, the people writing the handbook. We have to do this, we would have to do all this all basically 2024. I wouldn't want, and I don't know who's on here, who's not on here, if anybody's on here, but we don't want to try to take away a benefit immediately. We want to give people an opportunity to make different arrangements. So I would put this whole discussion, I would suggest as of January 1st, 2024. So that there's a period of time here for people to,
That would give 7 months.
yes.
Can you restate your motion again?
Okay.
Sorry, I'm like Lois.
I'm making a motion that we remove the 50%, this is on the retirement eligibility, that we remove the 50% subsidy that the county provides and remove the eligibility of part-time elected officials, which are 12, you can refer to that 12 different office holders, which primarily it's the Commissioners Council and coroner and surveyor.
Okay, Randy, on the employees that took advantage of it now and using it now, can we anyway grandfather those individuals in? I mean, you offered them something and you jerk it away from them.
Right. Again, I would think that whoever has it, they'd run through the first of the year. I mean, we can do whatever we want to.
I mean, over
That's
the time, we didn't pay our employees very much money, and they don't have much savings. They're probably struggling with what they're doing now, and maybe they retired for health reasons. I don't know. It's not us to know that, But I just hate to, somebody committed their life to Perry County, their employment, and then we jerk the rug out from underneath of them. I just don't think that's who we are. I mean, that's my opinion.
Thank you, Randy, please.
I mean, I've seen other companies take away benefits, and right or wrong, that's what some of them do. They grandfathered in. Any new employees, anybody eligible for it now is not, I don't know how to handle this, but I just hate to
Well, the only thing,
put somebody in hardship.
the only thing that we actually would be doing would be reducing the county's contribution. Because we're required by state law to allow them to stay on the insurance. That's the state law. So we'll have to do that. It's just the 50% subsidy.
That's somewhere around, what'd you say, 13,000?
Half of a family plan is $13,500.
So,
That's what it amounts to.
for some people, 13,000, not very much, but some people
It's quite a lot.
It's
Yeah.
everything.
It's
So-
like the county, I mean, as we go through these processes, we're gonna have to rank our priorities and, determine which one is,
Just remember what I said, though, it's who we are. I mean, I know we gotta watch our dollars, but there's people,
We're looking at saving.
well, we would never know that because it's a HIPAA violation for us to know it. But we
That's-
potentially could have 12 people on there or 300,000.
I'm just looking at the hardest side of things, you
I
gotta
know.
have them,
I know.
you gotta take care of people, Because if we didn't have people, we wouldn't have anything at all.
So. Comment, Becky?
Yes. As I said before, being an elected official, I know I'm part-time. I knew I went into this being a part-time elected official. And I don't think anyone in this room that is a taxpayer needs to be responsible for my health issues, period. Full-time is a different story. Retired is a different story. But can I get a show of hands in here that think they ought to take care of my health issues?
Well.
I'm abstaining, I'm not ready.
But I mean,
Okay,
I
on this
work-
issue, what we're talking about right now, I can see that on elected officials.
right,
But I'm really talking about our employees that work here and,
yes, I stated
yeah,
that don't include
yes.
full-time employees.
But I'm okay with if you worked here 20 years, we probably shouldn't pay you if you got out of office. I'm okay with that.
Right.
So, I mean, as far as eliminating the part-time from eligibility on retirement, insurance benefits for 10 years, you're okay with that. What you're not okay with is any current employees that, I'm trying to qualify this, that are exercising that option?
I never did, on the health insurance to county officials, we'll get into that here in a minute.
Yeah, right.
But on,
This is retirement
if I'm
benefit.
here 20 years and if I'm 55, which I'm a lot older than that, but anyway, I don't think that should be there for elected officials. Now, if you're elected official, if you're still serving, maybe. But I didn't know if I'd ever agreed with that. And I only knew one elected official in the past since I've been here, took advantage of that. And that's probably maybe the reason I didn't agree on it. But I'm okay with limiting that to elected officials. We'll get into health insurance here in a little bit on that. But on the employees, I would like to see us at least grandfather the people in. At least they know what's going on, the people now before they retire. But if you jerk the rug out from them, that's not who I am.
Okay, so are you, when you say grandfathered, you're saying anybody that's
Is
currently existing
on it
on
now.
the system?
Yes, that's,
What you, I mean, what we're basically doing, if I'm understanding right, you're going to continue to subsidize them because we're required by law anyway.
Mhm.
So that anyone currently that is taking advantage of this subsidized health insurance premium will continue to receive it up until age 65,
Yes,
if they so choose.
yes. And I guess if you want to give and take, anybody retires from here on, the subsidies is
Gone.
I don't totally agree with that, but
And you want
you know,
them
you
to
can give and
start
take a little bit here and there.
Start in 2024, correct?
Yeah, whenever we want to do everything whenever our premiums come up, because trying to do it midstream would be a nightmare.
But I still don't have a problem with for the employees. I mean, if they,
So Randy, I made a motion and it died for a second, I guess. So is that a motion that we can incorporate?
okay, let's
what we're doing-
just try a motion right here now.
Okay.
I'll make a motion for anybody's elected official.
Full-time?
No,
No,
no, no, no.
part-time.
I'm
Elected.
talking part-time. This is all gonna be in the same motion.
This is
The
the 12
the
identified.
20-year, I call the 20-year deal.
Mhm.
We won't fund it and we won't participate in it. They won't get their health insurance. Come back to the employees in this motion. If we got any on them right now, they stay the same. We still subsidize their 50%. They keep their insurance till they're 65,
If they choose to.
if they choose to. So if you want to look at long-term savings, I would say in that motion that any new employees after this year loses the 50%.
Loses the subsidy.
Yeah,
Now,
what,
this
we've
is strictly
eliminated
for-
the elected official. It's
Yeah.
full-time employees we're talking about now.
The part-timers, he's saying will pull off. It's the people that actually, what we would class as full-time employees here within the county that are currently on it would be eligible to continue it. Going forward, that would not be an option. It would be an option to stay on the health plan, but it would not be subsidized to 50% as currently written.
Yeah.
So we'd have two classes. We'd have those that are currently on that are grandfathered through the process, and any new people would be required that wanted to be on the county health program would be required to pay 100% of the cost. Correct?
Okay. I have one question here. Would that be for a single or a family plan?
Both.
It's both.
I
Yeah.
don't think you can
You
single
can't
that out.
go- okay. That's why I asked.
It could be a legal question, but I would say either.
Everything, I want to contingent, everything, our motions are contingent upon the insurance people, the legal counsel, and also the others. Sherry, step up here.
I'm sorry, I'm still confused. Did you mean currently on the
Retirement.
55 to 65 insurance would continue? Or people who are currently on insurance? Let's say I'm 25 and I work here and I'm on the insurance, would I still get the retirement
No, no.
benefit? Okay.
It's just
That-
the
that was
people
just
that's on it
unclear.
after if they're not working here and still using our insurance because they was 55,
Just those people who are currently on
Yes.
the special.
those ones gonna be, I would say grandfathered in my motion.
Oh, thank you.
Have they already hit 20 years? Is that what you're saying? The ones who have already hit 20 years that are?
Yeah, that's already, yeah. So I guess
Yeah, that
if
is-
somebody's close to retirement now, in my motion, they're gonna retire by the end of the year, they'd still get the benefit.
So it wouldn't be today.
No, it wouldn't be today, it'd be January 1 if it's, like Randy said, goes through the insurance, attorneys and everything like that.
Thanks, it's clear.
Yeah.
All right, I think we need to restate and restart since we've had so much discussion. And because,
Okay.
yeah, both motions are dead. We need to start over since we've had so much discussion.
Let's do them
Who
one
killed
at a
mine,
time.
Randy?
We had too
I
much
didn't think
discussion in
Chris just
between.
did.
It just.
Let's do them one at a time and make.
Yeah,
it
we
simple.
are going to do that. I mean, but this is on retiree eligibility.
Okay.
Do you want me to
Let's
state
make it
what I think
simple,
it
let's
is?
make it simple, Randy. Elected officials. Do not get it.
Part-time elected officials.
Part-time
That's what
elected
we have to
officials,
do.
yeah, part-time elected officials.
Which is made up of
Well,
12
no, okay,
12 officers.
we won't say part-time. Council, commissioners,
Corners or-
Corners, or, that's fine if we want to call them out, identify them by name. That's
Okay.
fine too.
That's-
Okay.
They do not,
Are not eligible for
more
retirement
than
benefits at age 55.
yes.
Retirement benefits?
This is retirement. We're doing these
Okay.
step by step.
Okay.
Okay.
Trustees get that?
No.
You're not eliminating, are you eliminating it?
We don't.
They don't get a minute. They don't have the benefit in it.
That would be within the trustees' budget and the board.
Yeah, that's
Right.
outside our
Shouldn't.
control. Okay, let's go to in the motion. Let's just make that a motion alone.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
You're eliminating eligibility for 12 individuals, and that's council, commissioners, surveyor, and coroner.
For that benefit there.
With the stipulation till the end of 2023.
No, that's permanent.
That's permanent.
We're permanently
okay.
taking that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Too many motions here.
Okay, let's
That's my motion.
let's go
I
ahead
got
and
it.
go.
I got it.
I need a second.
Oh, yes.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. 3-0. So we eliminated the eligibility of retirement benefits for those 12. Okay.
Okay,
Now,
with that, I'll make another motion. County employees that's
currently
on it now, receiving the benefit at 50%.
Currently receiving
Yeah.
retiree eligibility subsidies of 50%
Is grandfathered in.
until age 65,
Yes,
or they choose to no longer participate.
yes.
I'm trying to.
Got it?
Paul,
Is all effective as of 12/31/23 and
Yes.
this year.
We'll have to do it at whenever the policies and all change. Otherwise, it would be hard. It would be a real
and it's subject to council, attorney.
subject to attorneys, insurance, and
Becky, Randy, you will check the legality of that,
Yes.
state of Indiana, about what an elected official.
we already have. They've already told us through the whole group that we can do it. We just need to name it. Wagner, Shealy, Irwin, whatever said we can do it. Apex said we can do it. We just need to get the gurus to write the proper language in order to do it. So unless something changes, before we went through this whole process, we wanted to check to make sure what we were doing was legal. And so,
Because at one time, the state of Indiana had a different definition regarding elected officials.
if
that
it-
They were employees of the county, and they could receive the same benefits as any county employee.
and what,
That was the state of Indiana.
yeah, and what you said was can, and that is correct. It's not a requirement though. Not only, some counties do it, some counties don't. And that's what we found throughout in our research here. Some of them do, some of them don't. It's all over the place. We're a small county. We've got limited resources. I, for one, I have a problem with asking my neighbor to pay additional property taxes to pay for my health insurance. It's just, it's the way I feel about it, but
We'll get
So-
in that discussion. here.
yeah. That's step 2. Okay, so the next one is allowing any current enrollees within the retirement eligibility 50% subsidy to continue on until age 65 and/or they choose to no longer participate.
And from now till, if somebody wants to retire by the end of the year, they can still take that benefit.
These things will become as of 2024, January 1.
Yes.
So. Becky? Okay.
Yes.
Any questions?
No, I'm
Okay.
thinking, I was,
So Randy made the motion. I'll second that. All those in favor?
All right.
Okay, so we're good with that. So now we're through the retiree eligibility. Now, the next ones is we're going to get into the healthcare. And in order to remove that from the same group of 12, I think, from what I've been told, it's simply identify those 12 individuals that they're not eligible. I think, and we remove this statement in and this is back to these documents we're working on, the 30-hour per week requirement does not apply to elected officials. So that statement gets removed. So, and we clearly state that the elected officials, the part-timers, are not eligible. So, comments?
Well, you probably know I got some comments on this.
Go ahead.
I look at it for the future of Perry County in elected officials role. What do we really want our elected officials in the next 10 or 20 years? We want people invested in their community. If they own their own business, small business, a lot of times the small business has to have both husband and wife, spouses working to run that small business. And you know, if we offer the insurance, I don't think it's a bad thing to get the good quality people, because it is very hard to find anybody to run for these offices anymore. I'm looking for somebody to run for my office, and it's like, no. I mean, they don't even think about it here in 2024. And if you offer a benefit, at least you got a chance to get good quality people that cares for the community. Yes, it is a benefit. Yes, it costs money, but we got to realize we're probably one of the lowest paid counties on elected officials. I can't remember, we've always give up our raises when the employees got raises. We took a 10% cut, and I'm not saying we're doing it for the money, because for $10,000 a year, I'm losing that on the farm probably today. I should be home spraying my crop. But I don't think it's a bad thing to get the people we want and need in the future. I'm talking after we're all three gone and left this seat right here, 10, 20 years down the road. I mean, we need leadership, because I see other counties just booming, and we cannot miss a beat. And I came from Wapaka here a month and a half ago, that we got to be on top of things. I'm sorry. But we got to be on top of things. We got to have the right officials, and not saying we don't now, but I'm just looking for a future. And I'm always the type that when I leave this commissioner, I want to see it a better place than when I came, no matter how good it is. And I think everybody needs to have that same mindset. So that's my 2 cents, Randy.
And then see it, and I'll come to the other point, and it may be valid, the pay for the amount of time it's invested, but I think we need to be upfront with the public. And if, for instance, which I don't take them, if I'm taking a $27,000 benefit, public's well aware of it in addition to my pay, so pay me a salary. That might encourage more people to participate in it if that's necessary. I came from a background of the school board, and I said this multiple times over there. We'd come in and we'd have a teacher, and the question would be, well, if we pay them more money, they'll become a better teacher. I don't ever believe that's the case. They're either a good teacher or a not so good teacher. They may put a slight bit more effort in once they get a pay raise, but they're not just automatically, by paying them in a wage, a better teacher. Now, that teacher may walk out the door because we're not compensating them sufficiently, and they go to another school district. But I think you have a good teacher because they are a good teacher. They're bought into the school system. They're for the families, the kids. They're there for them. You cannot financially make them suffer, or they will find another employment. I think that's reflective of what I hope is elected county officials the same way. They're not here for the money. They're here for the betterment of the community. If it becomes such a overly burdensome task, then, and in the compensation, if you're here actually for the money, you may walk away and say, it's just not worth my time. But I just feel optimistically most people are here to serve their community, not to profit in fashions. And I hope those people that volunteer to step up and serve, and I think we have a whole bunch of people on the CVB that we just witnessed here that say, hey, I'll put my time. They're not paid, but they're willing to step up and make our county a better place. I just feel like with our limited resources, we've got issues here, a few we're all aware of, that we need money to address. And I, for one, am looking for sources. And if this is a source, if we become fluent in the future and another group of commissioners determine that healthcare benefits is essential, they can put them back in place. But this time and where our resources are and the way our health costs are skyrocketing, I just have a difficult time continuing that benefit. Sure. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to make a comment based on coming from the outside, coming in here to looking at the county dollars that I had never, ever looked at before taking office. It's very hard when there's no extra money. It's not there, being there, and you've got all these, it's not that no one wants to put the money in. No one wants to, it's like you've got to find where you're going to get the money. So that just being just an insight to give, being someone that's completely green on county finances and coming in these 5 months of looking at the fact. And that's one of the reasons why I busted tail to get settlement done, because there were no pots to pull from. So I just want to point that out as looking for avenues to free up some funds is a hard thing to do. It really is. It's not something somebody wants to take funds away from something. No one, I think, in any position like this would want to take funds. We'd want to be able to give, but you've got to look at what you got. And that's what I'm just stating as someone that looks at the finances and all the time, and anyone can come look at them. It's public knowledge, but here's where we're at. We want to give to this. We want to give to this. We want to give to this. It's not we don't want to, it's we want to, but we don't have the capability. So we have to look at avenues to save money to be able to put into other projects. If I'm just saying that it's been very, very eye-opening these last 5 months. So this isn't an easy thing. I feel like it's not an easy thing for the people in these positions to have to figure out where we're going to pay something, how we're going to pay something. And it's so much thought of the fact that they don't want to pay it. It's the fact that we don't have it. We're a small county. We've got to figure out ways to use our dollars appropriately in the best way we see fit. And we might end up making one change and deciding that wasn't the right change and make another change. We learn as we go. So I just want to say that's just somebody coming in from the outside and not being aware of the sense of borrow from Peter to pay Paul, and then Paul pay Peter back. That's kind of what I've been doing for the last 5 months. And that's a lot of why I rushed settlement so much, was because it was going to take a lot of stress off of the accounting. So I just wanted to say that.
I'll make a motion that we no longer provide employee health benefits to the 12 individuals we have discussed here, which consist of the Commissioners Council, surveyor, and coroner.
Is that effective like the rest of them, end of the year?
January 1st, subject to legal review and insurance review and everything.
I'll second that motion. I think everybody knows how I feel, and if they disagree with me, here's a cup. You can start coming up and putting money in it for my insurance.
I don't see any other seat. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'll vote nay.
2-1. Next item on the agenda is Perry County Development Corporation contract. And I think all of you have had a chance to review this contract. It's been a while in the process of getting it completed. It goes back, we probably dropped the ball back in October when we didn't change our edit plan to reflect the additional money that was going to be set aside for county property maintenance. And then we changed county attorneys at the beginning of the year, and that extended it farther, and it's just been a task. But we came to somewhat of an agreement, David Aitchett, myself, and John Shear, with the PCDC executive group. And the new contract is a little different. We're going to be more of an active county entity than what has been in the past as far as direction. We'd like for them to carry out tasks for us. We also are conceptually paying them for, they're a nonprofit organization. We're paying them for their basic operating expense, a portion of it. They will then, when projects arrive that they need additional support, will come back to the county and say, we have this specific project that needs these specialties or these different tasks to be carried out in the county, then we'll be asked to participate in it. So it's a little different than the past contracts. The past contracts are probably 30 years old. So this is a little new. The not to exceed price is $188,292 on the base contract. So is there any questions concerning this contract?
How will that work, Randy, when you said projects? I know a lot of times when you're looking at economic development projects, you want to try to go after or try to do, you want to try to keep them under your hat for a while?
Well,
Because competition out there with other counties, other states, other
Correct.
companies, how
And
does that work?
they're going to come to us on a quarterly basis and discuss what they're doing. I don't expect them to step in here and say, Buc-ee's is coming to 64.
Oh,
We get that rumor started. won't we?
Okay, so I don't expect them to say that. They may say there is a large development at that point, and they're going to serve Randy's favorite, what is it, brisket? That they do, okay. You may know it's a Buc-ee's, but I don't expect them to come in there and identify specific individuals they're working with and/or entities. What they'll come in and tell us that they're working on this project that involves 20 people, and it's going to bring revenue of X number of dollars, and we're going to be looking for some type of an abatement and/or a TIF district and/or something that the county can provide, just to kind of keep us up to date on what they're working with. Disclosing the name is not productive, but keeping us informed is. They may come in and say, hey, we need an engineering study on this one parcel of property as to availability of water, sewer, electric, whatever. And at that point, they may ask us, we need $5,000, we need $10,000, we need X number of dollars. And at that point, we'll say, okay, if that seems like it's a viable entity that we want to go ahead and pursue, we'll provide the money. So it'll bring us more involved with the economic development. Primarily, they're going to work through the RDC, so it's not constantly coming to the commissioners. We currently have an active RDC group. Hopefully that'll continue in the future, and we'll only kind of be on the outside perimeter of what's going on. So that's kind of how the contract was structured. So. I'll make a motion to approve that contract as written.
the attorney has already looked at all this, correct?
Yep, he was sent it. He said it looks good to him. So that was his email back to me.
Can I have a question for PCDC?
Sure.
Are we good with it?
Yeah, we are. We appreciate it. It was a long and arduous process, but we're glad to be here. So,
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're here where we're at now.
Yeah.
I wish it wouldn't have took this long.
well, it happens.
Yeah.
And there are some past bills we'd love it if you wouldn't mind covering.
With contract, we can pay them.
Yeah. But no, we do. We appreciate it. We really do.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to speak for you, Aaron.
Is there a motion made?
I made a motion. Go ahead, don't have a second. It's
I'll
gonna
second
die.
that motion.
Okay, all those in favor with the
Aye.
Aye.
3-0, that passed. Next item is the Carrollton Road Inquiry.
Okay. Randy Cleaving and I had received an email reaching out regarding a conversation about Carlton Road.
Yes.
I didn't know if there was anything that needed to be done on that one, Randy.
Well, the way I took the email was that individual, when the Heritage neighbor is gonna condemn a road or ask the county to condemn the road.
Right.
Well, see, it don't get to us till he gets to attorney,
Okay,
and then it finally comes to us.
here's where that is, and it's it's dragging along like the PCDC contract. It's a road that dead ends into a stream. We don't have a bridge on it. So it hasn't been maintained for a period of time. That's what Steve was in here, and I can't remember the gentleman's name that initiated it, Steve.
Junior?
Jim Hughes?
Hughes.
Jim Hughley.
Hughes. And what he wanted to do was because the GPS would take them down there and then they'd drive in and they'd have to try to turn around and everything. And we didn't have necessarily anything reduced to an ordinance on how you take that off of the county road map and that. So Andrew drew that up and I think we approved it, but I asked him to put together a simplified document that could be filled out by an individual for not only what he wants to do, but also to notify his neighbors. And then they're all aware of what's going to happen. Then we can take the action to eliminate that road. Those documents I haven't seen yet because I didn't want to put the burden on everybody that wants to do something with a road where they have to hire an attorney and go through that whole process. So we have a streamlined process where the simplified documents can be filled out. The neighbors are all aware of it. As long as somebody's not locked out with access to their property, they're probably okay with it. But it's just that simple process, and he has not got those documents to me yet. So
I
and I
remember,
think
we
this
was
is
gonna
the-
put it on our website, wasn't we?
Yeah.
Once we
So it's
all done.
available, and you can just easily go through it rather than having to secure legal counsel in order to do a road that probably we should have abandoned 20 years ago.
Because we don't even know how many people live on that road right now, except for this.
Yeah.
this
And what we're
town
going to
here.
do is within a certain 400 feet or 400 whatever, you have to notify those affected
Mhm.
parties.
And I think you still have to have a hearing probably.
We'll have to do it, yeah.
Got to
But we need to have him fill out all the paperwork and notify his neighbors, so all the neighbors can attend the meeting. We can have open to them to have a discussion and then make a decision.
This
But
is in
we're
Clark
waiting
County,
for those
County?
documents from the
Should be,
attorney.
if it's a C.
So,
I don't even know where that,
I've never
he's
heard
got
of
that back here.
It's clear up in the northern part of the
it.
county.
Anyway.
Mhm.
On the other side of 64, isn't it, Steve?
Randy, that's that dead end road on the, right after you pass the station building on, right after you cross 64, that used to go to the left there down in the woods across that creek.
Okay.
They come out over, when they head through, but we ain't maintained that 25 or 30 years probably.
It's still on the GPS, so
Right, that's his problem.
got one down the St. Mark's that way too.
So with that, I guess we just don't need to take any action. We need to send Andrew a reminder to move that along. So the next item on there is a mitigation. This is on a parcel of property that is currently owned, unless it's been transferred because it's fluid. It was owned by the redevelopment authority. And during, if I understand this, and I'm getting the back end of this, but I think the property was dedicated as mitigation for bats. And it has, it's connected with the Riverview West project. And originally, the county entered into a contract with Webb Wheel to transfer the real estate upon payment of their bonds for that project. So the bonds have been paid for, everything's came to play, and now they got into the point to transfer the property, and this bat mitigation needs to be associated with the property. My concern was to make sure that the Webb Wheel is in agreement that the county has met all their obligations contractually as far as transfer of the property, so that there's not a liability potentially hanging out there in the future that said, hey, you stuck us with bat mitigation or something to that nature. And the attorney said that he's had that discussion and it should be acceptable. I want to see something necessarily in writing to attach to this so that,
The lease
we have-
termination agreement,
pardon me?
the lease termination agreement, so would you have?
Somewhere where they're, just so they,
I'm meeting with them on Wednesday to sign the lease termination agreement.
and they are, there's a statement in there that states the county has met all of its contractual obligations as far as the transfer of this property. No other compensation.
Well, we're not done yet.
Okay, just make sure that's, well-
It's only the 30, they want the 15.6 that was carved out for bat mitigation. So I think that this is just transferring the part that doesn't have the bat mitigation. That we're gonna go ahead and do. And then,
this is a,
This is for the bat mitigation.
declaration of restrictive covenants for conservation. And it
Yep.
talks about,
Is that the one that I emailed you?
yep,
yes, I'm meeting with Web on Wednesday and I will share all of the.
yeah. I just want to make sure,
requirements.
initially when they moved to town, they were contractually, the county was obligated to make sure that they are on board with all of this and we are fully unhooked so that they don't come back later on and say, hey, you did this or this here, just so they're acknowledging that, and then the county can put that to rest. And that's the only issue. And as far as, I wanted to get the other commissioners on board. If we want to approve this contingent upon that, so that it's okay to sign it when and if this document's completed, so that Web Will acknowledges that we've done everything we were required to do. So
I think we probably should wait till Aaron.
Gets the
What's going
document.
on, yeah,
Yeah.
documentation on
It's
that.
okay with me, then we'll just put this on the sideline until you get completed with them. We'll do it at the next meeting. Animal shelter.
Okay, Molly, you wanna come up and tell us what all's going on? You've been busy.
Good morning, or afternoon. The building's painted, the outside looks great, nice freshened up. We started painting on the inside. Let's see, we've had a water leak and that's been repaired. And we got a cleaning company and we're gonna have to get a new cleaning company.
What's going on with that?
They haven't shown up in a week. And I was told by the worker that we were a work-in because they were really busy. And I didn't hear from them for a week and 2 days, and I called this morning and, well, we parted ways. So,
How long has it been, you said?
a week and 3 days that I did not hear from them.
But they did do some work before then, correct?
They were there 3 times.
Okay.
So he's gonna send me an invoice for
Okay.
his, he stated there was,
What she said.
pardon me?
We can't hear you back. You're flying. We can't hear you. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Sorry.
Do you want, what part did you miss?
Basically, for the most part, everything was said. I don't understand why that mic's not working.
I need a new cleaning company.
Okay. I understand. I know what we're covering.
The outside's painted,
Gotcha.
inside is being painted. So we're moving forward with that.
Good deal.
You can't hardly paint anymore until it's clean, correct? On the inside.
Correct. I've painted what we could so far. Over the weekend, we took in 4 dogs. 2 of them were removed from a bad situation. And I'm pretty sure that all 4 of the dogs belong to the same person. We're still in works on that. But that's an issue and we'll need to address that. So, we've been busy.
Good. That's not good, but it's good. I'm glad to see you're up and operating.
Well, on a restricted basis.
Yeah, but we're going there.
And I mean, I get calls every day of people wanting to surrender their dogs.
They're moving, they can't take their pet with them. They have a cat that has babies or it's pregnant. And right now, I'm not accepting intakes from the public because we're still just doing law enforcement intakes.
We have furniture too.
We have furniture, we don't have furniture. So just with the law enforcement intakes, it's really kept us busy.
The city of Tell City, when they remodeled German American Bank, all the furniture and desks and filing cabinets and chairs and couches and everything were put in a warehouse. And they told Molly and I to go in and mark what we wanted.
So I got some
we did that
chairs
Friday.
for the-
We got some really nice furniture out there.
Appreciated that the city stepped
Yes,
up
and I
on
thank you
that.
for that.
Really.
Mayor Kale did,
Mhm.
that was,
Good.
he told
That's
me to
very
go in
nice.
and help myself, so that was very nice. The gutters should be, going up. He's gonna come out, I was told this week, so we should see, some gutters going up.
Yeah, he's trying to, he actually worked us in to get the guttering down so the painting could go on and the power washing go on before the painting went on. So he's gonna try to work us back in. I mean, it's all, contractors right now is literally impossible to get. I feel sorry for people building houses.
And that's pretty much all I have. Any questions from you all?
Thank you, Molly. We're
Concerns?
glad you're still going forward.
Thank you.
There'll be a day you won't have to come here. You can just offer it.
You sure I can? No, I don't mind. I don't mind. Thank you. It keeps me
Thank you,
informed.
Molly.
That's the last
Thank you.
item on our agenda. If I have a motion to adjourn,
I make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
No.
And Chris.
Yes.
Will you take these?
Thank you very much.
I'm gonna
Appreciate it.
come
Thank you.
back
Thank
and
you so
see
much.
this already.
I'll just keep it down. Who I am.
So I'll come back.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
No problem, Dave.
I'll be on Tuesday. But it breaks my